I always believed love was supposed to be the one constant in an unpredictable world, something you could hold on to, even when everything else was falling apart. That belief led me to her, and for a while it felt like I had found the one person who could silence the chaos in my life. Her name was Lila. We met in the most ordinary way imaginable, at a coffee shop on a Tuesday morning. I was late for work, fumbling with my laptop and spilling coffee on my shirt, when she stepped in with a smile like spring sunlight after months of winter. She wasn't flashy, she didn't wear expensive perfume or dramatic makeup, but she had this presence, calm, grounded, and hauntingly beautiful. Her eyes held something deeper, like she'd lived 100 lives in silence before meeting me. I didn't believe in fate. Not really. But with her, it felt like the universe had finally aligned just right. We started talking that day. Nothing big, a joke about the barista's terrible spelling, a shared frustration about the long line. But when I walked out of that cafe, I couldn't get her voice out of my head. Soft, measured, like each word she spoke was selected with care. The next week, I came back. Same time, same place, and she was there again. By our third accidental meeting, I had the courage to ask her out. She said yes. And from that moment on, my life was no longer mine alone. It was ours. We were inseparable. We did everything together: lazy weekends in bed, spontaneous road trips, grocery shopping at midnight just for fun. She had this way of making the most mundane moments feel magical. When she looked at me, it was like she was seeing into my soul and loving every broken part of it. A few months later, I proposed. I didn't wait for some perfect sunset on a rooftop. It was raining that day. We were in sweatpants, watching some ridiculous cooking show, laughing at how the guy couldn't even crack an egg properly. I turned to her, heart pounding, and said, "Marry me, Lila." She looked stunned. Then she smiled. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She didn't post it to Instagram. She just said, yes. Simple, real, unforgettable. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was nervous, but because I was so damn happy. I had her. I had love. I had the future I never thought I'd deserve. But exactly 2 weeks after we got engaged, everything changed. She came home late, her face pale, her hands trembling, and she said 10 words that shattered my world. "I need to tell you something. I'm going to disappear."
I never wanted to hurt you. If I could have lived 100 lifetimes with you, I would have. And in some ways, I already have. But the truth is, I'm not like other people, not like you. There's a rule, one I never asked for and never fully understood. I only get 30 days. 30 days to fall in love. 30 days to experience life as if I were real. And then I vanish. Don't ask me why. I don't have all the answers. I only know what the voice told me the first time I opened my eyes in this world. You are allowed 30 days, no more, no less. Every time I appear, it's in a new body, a new place. But something about you, you made this time different. I remembered things I shouldn't have. I started to hope that maybe, just maybe, the rule could break. But I feel it now, the pull, like gravity in reverse. I have 15 days left. Please don't try to fix it. Please don't hate me. Just spend the time we have. Let's make it matter.
At first, I thought she was joking, maybe stressed. Maybe she'd watched one too many fantasy shows on Netflix. But then she looked at me, really looked, and I saw it. That ache, that fear. And I knew she wasn't lying. Something inside me cracked. The woman I loved, the one I'd asked to spend forever with, was telling me our forever had an expiration date. I couldn't accept that. I wouldn't. So I started searching. Not just Google searches, I mean deep digging, old myths, urban legends, medical anomalies, anything that could explain what she was going through. And the more I searched, the more frightened I became. Because I found nothing. No condition, no syndrome, no cult or psychic phenomenon that matched her story. Except for one obscure blog from 10 years ago. A man in Romania wrote about a woman who disappeared after exactly 30 days of being with him. Her name was different, but he described her smile, and it was the same. He called her the Phantom Bride, and suddenly it wasn't just a mystery, it was a nightmare. One I couldn't wake up from. Lila didn't want to talk about it anymore. She wanted to pretend everything was normal. She kept laughing, cooking, making love like we had all the time in the world. But I saw it in her eyes. Every day, a little more distance, a little more sadness. And me? I was falling deeper, even knowing she might vanish, even knowing I might wake up one morning to an empty bed. Because loving her, even for 30 days, was better than never knowing her at all. After that night at the lake, things between us changed. It was subtle, but I felt it every time she looked at me. She seemed lighter, like some part of her had been carrying a weight for far too long, and now, at least with me, she could set it down. But I also knew something darker still lingered under the surface. I started noticing the small things. She'd stare at the moon a little too long. Sometimes I'd find her standing completely still in a room, like she'd forgotten what she came in for. Once, I even caught her writing in that little leather notebook she always kept by the bed, only for her to slam it shut the moment I walked in. Still, I didn't push. I was scared of breaking whatever fragile truth was blooming between us. But I knew I couldn't go on pretending this was normal. The days were passing too quickly. And if the countdown was real, we were already on day 8. So one morning, over coffee, I broke the silence. I want to know everything. No more half answers, no more hiding. If we've only got a few weeks left, I want to understand what I'm losing. She didn't speak at first. Her hands trembled slightly as she held the mug to her lips, and I noticed she was wearing the bracelet again. The silver one etched with strange circular patterns I'd never been able to place.
I'm scared, she whispered, setting the cup down. Because the more you know, the more real this becomes, and I don't want it to be real.
But it is real. You said it yourself. Something's coming, something that takes you away from me. Don't I deserve to know what it is?
I wasn't born here, she said quietly. Not in this city, not in this world. I come from somewhere else. A place where people don't age like you do, where time doesn't pass the same. I was sent here, long ago, to live among your kind, to observe, to feel, to love. She paused, but I didn't interrupt. My heart was racing. My brain screamed at me to question everything, to assume she was delusional or joking or testing me. But my heart believed her. I wasn't supposed to get close to anyone. We weren't allowed attachments. But then I met you, and you ruined everything. I couldn't help but laugh. Not out of mockery, but because the words felt so utterly absurd and heartbreakingly beautiful at the same time.
Glad to know I ruined your interdimensional assignment, I said with a soft smile.
You did more than that. You made me want to stay, and that's the problem. Because now they're coming for me.
They? She nodded.
My people. They know I've broken protocol. They know I've fallen in love. And they don't forgive betrayal. On the 30th day, they'll come to take me back. And once I cross over, I can't return. I wanted to scream, to demand she fight it, to tell me there had to be a way. But her face said it all. She'd tried. She'd begged. She'd failed.
We have 22 days left, I said. Then let's make them count. We didn't talk about it much after that. We made a silent pact, to live every day like it was the last. We traveled, we danced in the rain, we kissed until our lips were raw. She told me stories about her home, strange cities floating above oceans of light, languages sung instead of spoken, memories stored in crystals. I drank in every word, every smile. But as the days passed, the cracks began to show. She grew weaker, not visibly, not to the world. But I saw it. Her hands shook more. She started forgetting things, names, places. Once she even forgot who I was, for 10 terrifying seconds that felt like eternity. And then one night, on day 17, everything changed. She woke up screaming, not loud, but deep. A muffled, terrified cry that shook me to my bones. I held her as she trembled, sweat-soaked and crying.
They're close, she gasped. I felt them. They're watching.
Then let's leave. Let's go somewhere they can't find you.
There's nowhere to hide. They exist between moments, between breaths. They don't search, they sense. I'm already burning like a beacon. But I refuse to give up. I spent the next day researching everything I could: ancient legends, dimensional theories, folklore. I wasn't a scientist. I wasn't even religious. But if there was even a sliver of hope buried in some dusty myth or forgotten ritual, I would find it. She didn't stop me, but she didn't help either. She just watched, like she was memorizing me, burning my image into whatever place she was destined to vanish to. On the night of day 19, I found something, a ritual, buried in an old esoteric forum, half in Latin, half in symbols I didn't recognize. But the translation was clear: a tether, a bond that could anchor a soul across dimensions. It required pain, blood, a memory shared. I brought it to her the next morning, desperate, wild-eyed, hopeful.
We can try. Even if there's only a 1% chance it works, I'd rather risk everything than do nothing. She hesitated.
If we do this, you'll carry the weight. You'll be marked. They'll know you tried to defy them, and they might not stop with just me. I looked into her eyes, and I saw the end approaching. Fast, cruel, unstoppable.
I hadn't slept 30 days. That's what she told me. I kept counting them on my fingers like it would make time slow down. Like somehow, if I kept track hard enough, the countdown wouldn't reach 0. But we were already on day 24. The day started the same. I woke up with her head on my chest, listening to the sound of her breathing. My eyes opened not because I wanted to, but because I had to check the clock again. 7 a.m. Every hour felt like I was losing her in real time. I started making notes in my phone. Things I wanted to remember forever. The way her nose scrunched when she laughed. The specific tone she used when she said my name. Her obsession with sunflower seeds. The way she hated when I left socks on the floor. And that soft humming she did when she was deep in thought. I asked her once what the melody was. She shrugged and said, "I don't know. Maybe it's something I used to remember from before." Before what? That part she never told me. Maybe she didn't know either. We did everything that week. We went back to the bookstore where I first asked her out. She ran her fingers over the same dusty hardcovers, whispering titles under her breath like she was reading them one last time. I took her to the coast again. It was freezing cold, but she stood barefoot in the sand, letting the waves crash against her ankles. When I offered her my coat, she refused. "I want to feel everything." That's what she said. And I understood, because so did I. We danced in the kitchen, made pancakes with too much syrup, stayed up late watching old movies until she fell asleep in my arms, mouth slightly open, eyelashes twitching in her dreams. But I couldn't enjoy it fully. There was a ticking bomb inside my chest. She was going to vanish. I didn't know how. She never explained it. Whether it meant death or disappearance, whether she'd just blink out of existence like a glitch in the system or slowly fade like smoke. I didn't know. But she was certain. And I believed her. Because the pain in her eyes when she said it was too real to fake. The night of day 29, I broke down. I held her hand as tight as I could and whispered, "What happens if I don't let go?" She looked at me, really looked, and I saw her smile break. "You don't get to choose," she said, and I hated the universe for it. I begged, I cried, I dropped to my knees, told her I'd give anything, everything to stop it. I even prayed, and I hadn't prayed in years. But nothing changed. She just held me and said, "Tomorrow. Please just give me tomorrow." So I did. I gave her everything I had for one more day, and then…
It was almost sunrise. I stood by the window, watching the first light stretch across the sky, the kind of soft blue that makes you think everything might be okay for a second. He was still asleep. His face was calm, but I knew his dreams weren't. He twitched sometimes, lips moving like he was trying to call me back, even in sleep. I didn't want to wake him. I didn't want him to see it, but he deserved to know. So I sat beside him, brushing my fingers through his hair. His eyes opened slowly, and the second he saw me, I saw it. The dread. He whispered, "Is it time?" And I nodded. There was no dramatic music, no flashes of light, just silence. I took his hand. "I don't want to go," I said. He swallowed hard, nodding. "Then stay." My voice cracked. "I wish I could. I don't even know what I am. I don't know why I was given 30 days. Maybe it was a gift. Maybe it was punishment. All I know is that it was real. He leaned in, his forehead against mine. It was the most real thing I've ever had, he whispered. I love you. I love you more, he said. And then I felt it. The warmth started fading from my fingers, like the color was draining from me. I kissed him, one last time, slow, deep, memorizing the shape of his lips, the scent of him, the heartbeat thudding against his ribs. And then the world went quiet. But for once I wasn't scared, because I knew he'd remember me, and that was enough.
She was gone, just gone. No body, no sound, no goodbye. The space beside me was cold. Her ring sat on the pillow. I sat there for hours, maybe days. The world didn't stop. The sun still rose. People still laughed outside cafes. Life moved on. But I didn't, not at first. I wore her ring around my neck. I went back to the places we'd been. I reread her notes, her little poems scribbled in the margins of books, her texts, her voicemails. Some nights I swear I felt her. A breeze across my cheek, a hum in the kitchen, her laugh echoing faintly down the hallway. I tried to move on. I dated again, smiled again. But no one was her. No one would ever be her. Because how do you replace a miracle? You don't. You just carry it. And if I close my eyes long enough, I can still feel her hand in mine.